we begin our social studies professional learning community meeting this week, I want to start by discussing how our students are doing at the halfway point in the lesson on the achievements of dynastic China. At this point in our classes, they have been exploring the Qin Dynasty and the Great Wall. They have been asked to watch a video on the Great Wall of China and take a short online quiz to assess their thinking about this topic. They also participated in a discussion post where they were asked to respond in writing, supported with evidence, arguing whether or not they felt the decades of time to build the Great Wall, as well as the sacrifice it took to make it, was worth it at all, given what a magnificent structure it was. After my students completed the online quiz, I felt it best to conduct an immediate assessment analysis to catch any problems as they occur and to see if problems existed to get help to my students to get them back on track and keep them engaged. Upon reviewing my period 1 quiz data, I noticed that though half my class had scored above average on the quiz, the other half scored below average. When I reflect on these results, I have come to the conclusion that the last 2 open-ended questions pose the most challenge for the bottom scoring half of my class. The data showed that only 42% and 65% of the class successfully answered the 2 open-ended questions. There were common errors in regards to this question prompt. Either the students did not answer the question completely and lost half credit, or they just did not answer the question correctly. Upon reflection, I realized that question 6 needs to be revised. I clarified the potential confusion regarding this question by adding additional directions. Also, as part of the feedback phase, since I feel the question was not written as clearly as it should have been for middle school students, I will be making it possible for the students who incorrectly or incompletely answered the question to respond to the question again. I will also announce the clarification directions to them orally. So as you can see, I underlined the word culture and the word history, and then also made clear that they need to answer both parts of that question. As with the quiz data, shortly after the students completed the discussion post assignment, I reviewed the data as well. The discussion post, again, was: the construction of the Great Wall took decades and cost many lives. In your opinion, is such sacrifice worth the magnificence of such a creation? I noticed that most students are finding success with this task, elaborating in their responses and using proper grammar, mechanics, and spelling, as shown by the following 2 examples. You can see here that the students made a claim stating the construction of the Great Wall was or was not worth it, and backing up their claims with evidence from the video. And as you can see, they elaborated quite nicely. I am concerned, however, in regards to the progress of 2 particular students. As I reviewed their work, I noticed that both boys are off task quite frequently, and when I evaluated their discussion post, I noticed that both have written limited posts without elaboration and with very poor sentence structure, grammar, and mechanics. The first child, as you can see, did not even write a complete sentence with very poor grammar and mechanics, and the second student had equal trouble with elaboration and proper mechanics. Upon reflection, I feel the discussion post questions should be revised and additional instructions should be given so that all the students know what the expectations are in terms of minimum sentences in the response, along with expectations regarding grammar, mechanics, and sentence structure. So with this revision, you can see I added in that they need to write in complete sentences with proper grammar, spelling, and mechanics, and that they need to have a 3 to 5 sentence minimum. As we know from our recent professional development day, one of Chickering and Ganson's 7 principles for good practice in education is to expect more and you will get it. High expectations, they contend, are important for everyone. Expecting students to perform well becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I will be requiring the students who did not meet minimum expectations to complete the assignment again. And I will state these expectations orally as well when assigning the next discussion post. I will be present online when the posts are being submitted, making sure that minimum expectations are being met. I will be monitoring the 2 students who turned in unacceptable work when the next assignment is given, and monitoring their progress to assure that expectations are met. I will also allow the students to respond to the discussion post by submitting an audio or video recording of their response. This will help these 2 students who are reluctant writers to show understanding in alternate modes. As we now know, there are many roads to learning. Students need the opportunity to show their talents and learn in ways that work for them. I've been thinking a great deal about these 2 students and how I can make the remainder of the course appropriate for them so they are engaged and successful. I want all my students to be engaged with my upcoming activities and assessments by demonstrating good behavior, positive feelings, and student thinking. Therefore, I will be trying some course correction adjustments to help my struggling students. The first thing I plan on doing in tomorrow's class is conferencing with each of the 2 students, pointing out their strengths, listening to where they had difficulty, and providing a bit of encouragement that they can do it. Giving prompt feedback, as you know, is important for student success. By conferencing with them and sharing suggestions for improvement, the 2 students will help focus their learning and be more engaged and successful in my class. I want to make sure that the task is not too overwhelming for them, as this could lead to frustration and discouragement and disengagement. Perhaps the students were disengaged due to the fact that they did not see the relevance of the assignment. In future activities, I will include connections to previous knowledge, as well as showing when and how it can be used in real life. Lastly, I will encourage collaboration on future activities, as perhaps this will help the students become more engaged. Perhaps the boys would feel more engaged if they were experiencing a sense of connections to others during the activities. I will model what effective collaboration looks like in my classroom, as well as encourage participation from these 2 boys by assigning each of them different roles, as well as other members of the group different roles. I will then evaluate both the individual students and the group performance. I know from Chickering's professional development that students do not learn much by being passive learners of knowledge. They must talk about what they are learning, write about it, relate it to past experiences, and apply it to their daily lives. They must make what they learn part of themselves. So my goal here is to provide in-course corrections to help ensure that each of my students is successful in regards to learning outcomes in my classroom. I'd love to hear from the rest of you at this point in regards to what you're doing for in-course assessment and adjustment strategies. Thank you for listening.